àti dìde àmúkẹ́kọ̀ọ́ fún gbogbo Nàìjíríà. Olúwa ṣeun. Ẹ kú ohùn màmá wa ọmọọba Adétóun tí ẹ tún jẹ́ abọ́bagírò fún gómìnà lórí ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn àkàndá ẹ̀dá. Inú oṣù kẹfà ọdún la wà yìí. Ẹ ti wá sórí ètò yìí bí ẹ̀kan àbẹ́ẹ̀ méjì rí màmí. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wá wo lọ́dún yìí o sí bí oṣù mẹ́fà yìí ibo la bá ọ̀rọ̀ àkàndá ẹ̀dá dé. Kẹ́tọ́ máa dáhùn náà nígbà táwọn èèyàn bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí pè wọlé ẹnìkan bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ níjẹ̀jọ ìgbà tí Ayọ̀ bá ń sí òyìnbó á túbọ̀ ṣàlàyé èyí dáadáa. Ó ṣàlàyé ara ẹ̀ bí àkàndá ẹ̀dá bóun ṣe kàwé bóun ṣe ṣe nǹkan kó ṣàlóhùn wà nílé lọ́rọ̀ kan wọn ò rán mi iṣẹ́ láti jíṣẹ́ mo kàn ń sọ akọ̀wọ́n update wa ní bí àṣà ọmọ wọ̀nyí tí òbó ṣe jẹ́ nìyẹn. Láti ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ ọdún yìí síbi tá a bá dé yìí kí lọ̀rọ̀ àwọn àkàndá ẹ̀dá ẹ̀kọ́ wọn àbójútó wọn ìgbáyégbádùn wọn òwúrọ̀ wo lẹ́gbẹ̀lẹ́.
Okay, between January till now as a focus has been on our vocational skills center. Ìyẹn ibi tí a ní skill acquisition center kan sí ìlú.
Ìkọ́ṣẹ́ ọwọ́ bí ìkọ́kí ń kọ́ oníṣẹ́ ọwọ́ ẹ̀.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, it's been a major focus torí pé kí ni a rí pé a ní àkàndá ẹ̀dá tó pọ̀ tí ẹ pé wọn ò níṣẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ṣe mọ̀. Tí àwọn particularly àwọn tí ò tiẹ̀ lọ school.
Ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ̀fẹ́ kọ́ máa sọ̀rọ̀ bára.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, so now ní ibẹ̀ yẹn the first year I graduated that was 2023. I graduated èèyàn 30. 2024 I graduated èèyàn 40. A rí pé ó kéré. So year yìí I increase ẹ̀ sí 120. Tí mo ṣe ń bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́wọ́ yìí àwọn first batch 60 wọ́n ti ń try láti round up by.
Wọ́n ti ń parí ẹ̀kọ́.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, by July àwọn second batch máa wọlé. You know, so yeah, is a major focus. Another major focus náà ni ọ̀rọ̀ iṣẹ́. Ọ̀rọ̀ iṣẹ́ ṣe dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé ọ̀rọ̀ iṣẹ́ tẹ́ bá ṣe ń gbé file tẹ́ ń gbé láti bí síbẹ̀ yẹn. Wọ́n á máa bá yín tọwọ́ bọ̀, wọ́n á máa ṣe. And of course it looks positive. Very soon. Torí gbogbo àwọn nǹkan gangan tó jẹ wá lógún ní ọdún yìí nìyẹn empowerment but kò ń ṣe empowerment ká kọ̀ máa pín ráìsì pé empowerment tó yẹ pé á fún wọn ní agbára dáadáa tẹ́ pé wọ́n á lè wọ́n á níṣẹ́ lọ́wọ́ empowerment tá a ní lọ́kàn níyà yìí nìyẹn and there has been a lot of progress and we are hopeful that that will come to light. Other things náà tá a tún ti ń ṣe òun náà ni training particularly fáwọn therapists wa tó yẹ kó wọlé.
Ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́.
I make sure pé wọ́n wà up to date wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe the exact thing tá a fẹ́ kí wọ́n ṣe. Another thing tó tún ṣẹlẹ̀ ní pé ní ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ yíyà yìí federal government wọ́n send the work plan details sí gbogbo states lórí inclusive education. Wọ́n dẹ̀ sọ pé wọ́n fẹ́ kí gbogbo states máa ṣe inclusive education. Inclusive education mean pé àwọn ọmọ tó ní disability wọ́n wà ní kíláàsì kan náà pẹ̀lú àwọn ọmọ tá a rò pé wọ́n ní disability gbogbo àjọ wà ní kíláàsì.
Tọ́lọ̀ ń dá pé.
Ṣẹ̀dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé àti ṣerú yẹn ó ṣe.
Pé àtàwọn tọ́lọ̀.
Ọmọ yẹn nìkan síbẹ̀ because àní meet need.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
So a lè mú jáde sọ pé yá wá sí therapy room níbi tí therapist àti bá ṣiṣẹ́ tá a lè wá fi sọ̀rọ̀. Àwọn tí wọ́n bá wá fún program tá a ṣe ní ọjọ́ Tuesday tí àwọn ọmọ school wá láti government special school. Odo, wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe presentation. A rí pé láàárín àwọn ọmọ tó ṣe presentation yẹn ni àwọn ọmọ kan wà tó yẹ pé for the past 6-7 years wọ́n ti wà ní school ẹ̀ tán sọ̀rọ̀. Wọ́n ní ọjọ́ program yẹn àwọn ló kọrin. Wọ́n ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ torí pé wọ́n dẹ̀ ti ń gba speech therapy ni.
Ọmọ tí ò sọ̀rọ̀ rí.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Ó wá dẹ̀ tó ń kọrin.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Ó ga o.
So the same thing ló máa ṣẹlẹ̀ tá a bá ní inclusive school wa. A ní speech therapist ń bẹ. So that irú ọmọ tí ó lè sọ̀rọ̀ wọ́n á lè bó ṣe 40 minutes ní ẹ̀ẹ̀mejì lọ́sẹ̀ ni wọ́n á bá ṣiṣẹ́ so that òun náà á lè sọ̀rọ̀ nǹkan táwọn ẹgbẹ́ ẹ̀ ń ṣe á lè máa ṣe. Ẹ
ṣeun kí n tó lọ sí ọ̀dọ̀ olóyìnbó ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ sáré sọ fún wa irú àwọn iṣẹ́ wo làwọn ọmọ wọ̀nyí ń kọ́ wọ́n ń hun apẹ̀rẹ̀ wọ́n mọ bí wọ́n ṣe ń mọ búlọ́ọ̀kù àbí wọ́n mọ bí wọ́n ṣe ń gbẹ́gi léèrè àbí kí làwọn iṣẹ́ tẹ̀ ń kọ́ wọn gan ìyá wa.
Iṣẹ́ márùn-ún là ń kọ́ wọn. The first one ni computing, that's ICT skill. Tó ń ṣe wig, máa kọ́ àwọn bó ṣe ń ṣe wig, bó ṣe ń wé gèlè, àwọn fẹ́rẹ̀. Then hospitality and catering.
Okay.
Then I need shoemaking. And finally, I need sewing, that's a fashion designing.
Káránṣọ ká ṣe bàtà.
Then.
Ó dà Ayọ̀ jẹ́ n fi Mama Adétòun lẹ̀ fún yín ọmọọba Adétòun.
Yes. Good morning once again, Princess. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Mr. Ayo.
Yes, thank you. Well, let's start from where Biodun started. Just briefly, I'd like you to open up the essence of the annual conference of NASET, the 36th one being held in Ekiti State. What's the essence of that? Let's start from there.
Okay, the Nigeria Association of Special Education Teachers Conference, it's annual, and it's an opportunity, it's a forum where all special educators are expected to, share good practices, share latest information in the field, and, it's just a forum to groom themselves and make themselves better in the sector, just to make sure the sector is thriving as it should be. So this year's own was is hosted by Ekiti. We are still hosting it. We are still in the process.
Yeah.
The process is ongoing as I speak to you. So we're hosting the process this year, and the opening ceremony was done on Tuesday. Now, I did mention that usually states are allowed to bid for the hosting of the conference. But in the case of Ekiti, we didn't bid. We were just called, and they requested to come to Ekiti this year because they've heard so much about what His Excellency is doing. And, His Excellency gave the approval, and they are here in Ekiti. And I would like to say that since they came in, they've been full of praises for His Excellency. They visited a few of our centers, and they're impressed with what they're seeing. Even though the further visits will be happening today, tomorrow, but we're happy. They are already happy with what they've seen so far. So that's what's happening.
Yes. Before I leave that, how does this conference, how does it benefit Ekiti people? What benefit will accrue to Ekiti for hosting this event?
Okay, usually states are expected to send between 3 to 10 delegates, for this conference. But because we are the ones hosting the conference, all special educators in Ekiti State are beneficiaries. That's the first thing. So that means every session, if every special educator in Ekiti State, has the opportunity to learn. So it's not that they send 3 or 10 people there, and because they send 3 or 10 people, those ones will learn, then go back home and retrain others. Now we are all learning at the same time. That's key. And I want to say that NASET has done well by also bringing in facilitators from the United Kingdom. They brought in facilitators from around Nigeria, So we have rich and well-trained individuals giving lectures. That is a major benefit for our teachers who are there in that conference. And secondly, economically, I would say it's the benefits of Ekiti, because they had to lodge in, so they had to pay hotels, they're feeding, we also are feeding them, we're feeding them, and of course it's Ekiti caterer that is doing the meals. We had to print jotters, print things by Ekiti press. I think economically it's of benefit to our people as well. Yeah, and of course we have to buy things from the market. So the things we have to buy from the market, they are, were sold by Ekiti traders. So economically, it's of great benefit to us as a state. Also, it's also an opportunity for people from other states to feel our hospitality as a state, because when people come into your domain, whatever thing they see, it's easier for them to tell other people when they leave. Of course, and when people are talking about, for example, people have been talking about our governor, but coming down to Ekiti, it was easy for them to feel what it is to be in Ekiti. One of the things they said to us is the way you guys work together. The very first day they were in, the head of service attended to them, right there to the Commissioner of Education's office. They were there and they saw the signage, how we're all working together. At the opening ceremony, the Commissioner for Women Affairs was there, talking about children. And they're like, it seems as if whatever is happening in this area is also happening in this area. So the coordination, the synergy is obvious to them. If we go to Abuja, we are telling them, in Ekiti, we work together, we work collaboratively, because working collaboratively is a 21st century skill that everyone should have, which is really difficult for so many people. But because it's a culture here in this government to work collaboratively, they are seeing it. We ourselves, in fact, until they started talking about it, I didn't even realize how much we have all entered into one another, getting things done. But by the time they mentioned it, that the way you people work together, do you even fight or something? We're just laughing that yes, we do disagree sometimes, but we disagree to agree. But we're only trying. Yes. So these are things that they also will be taking away from us. And nobody can take those things away from them. So if they get back to anywhere, they're going to be great ambassadors preaching what Ekiti State stands for.
All right, let's quickly move away from that. As we look into the future, we're in the 6th month of the year. Can you highlight what your activities have been in the first 6 months of this year while we look into the future?
Yes, so besides preparing for this conference, our major focus at the beginning of this year is to train more people with disabilities in vocational skills. This was necessary because we realized that there are so many of them who didn't have the opportunity to go to school, and most of them are home depending on people to support them. We know this is not right. We know as a government we need to provide more support for them. And what we have done in the past, that was in 2023, about 30 people graduated from, we have a skill acquisition center there at Ilokun, for persons with disabilities. It's a center for persons with disabilities. So in 2023, 30 people graduated. In 2024, 40 graduated. That's 70 in all. But for us as a government, we are not comfortable, turning out that small number. We want to do more. We want more people to be empowered. We want more people to have means them, which also, when they come back, we empower them. We do graduation for them, and then we empower them. So if somebody has learned how to sew, the person will be getting the equipment that will be used for sewing, shoemaking, the equipment for shoemaking will be handed over to them so that they can start immediately. And these things that they have learned, they are things that once they learn it, they can start from their bedroom. They don't even have to step outside to do these things. They can start right there in their bedroom, So we equip them, we give them the materials needed, and then they can start immediately. And another thing we also hand over to them is the Federal Ministry of Labor and Productivity trade test certificates. These trade test certificates are certificates that even if they haven't gone to the university, they can use it to work in structured establishments like the government. So they can work with the government. So if they choose not to be an entrepreneur, they don't want to work as an entrepreneur, they want to work with the government or with any private organization that requires their skill, they are able to use the certificate to get a job. Also this year, we have trained our therapists. We've done trainings, because there is a lot that needs to be done. And, because therapists are new, we've had to invest so much, like this year, to make sure that they are trained. And also, I'm trying to put my thoughts together.
Right.
Yes. So then, I think basically those are the things. Okay, now talking about employment, yes, because this year we are focused on people like, employment. We have plans to employ people with disabilities, and it's ongoing right now. The process is ongoing. We're not done with the process yet, but the process is ongoing. It's really positive because this year who would function in the lower Keda, we just are hopeful that something is coming their way this year. So the process is also ongoing.
All right. Just a quick one. I'd like you to quickly react to these two main issues you mentioned earlier as inclusive school in Ikole. I'd like you to talk about that, and as well as the latest development concerning the special therapy center at the old governor's office in Ado-Ekiti. Just those two things before we cross over to Biodun.
Okay. Inclusive education. I should start by talking about that. At the beginning of the year, the Federal Ministry of Education mandated every state to, send in a work plan on inclusive education. As a state, as a first be fully opened. And inclusive education means children with disabilities are there in the same classroom as their peers. Just like their mother in education, that's Dr. Mrs. Aderi MNI would always say, that they don't have a different market. They don't have a different workplace. They have to visit the same market as everybody. So putting them together with everybody right from when they're small is still the best idea. And that is what we're working towards. But of course, the pilot school should begin in September. And, the preparation is far gone. And we should, at any time, let you know when it is that we're ready. But by September, the place will open up, and we would all see what it looks like to have an inclusive school.
All right.
Oh, yes. So talking about the Okeoriomi,
yes,
the Children Therapy Center in Okeoriomi. Well, right now, the place is totally filled up, and we're already looking at other options. It's so surprising that on the list there we have about 70 children who have been timetabled to attend sessions at different times there. And you know that we usually will pick them up from their homes because there's a bus attached to them. And they also take meals every lunch. They take meals every afternoon at the center. So if they come in for therapy, they're entitled to a free lunch, and they're also entitled for us to pick them up and drop them off after their sessions. And this has been ongoing, and we're happy at the progress the children are making. Initially, when they has happened. somewhere, you know.
Ọjà wa lẹ́ẹ̀tì ra tí wọ́n ó jẹ ra rodo ra àlùbọ́sà ra gbogbo ẹ̀. Èkìtì ni wọ́n ó ti gba hòtẹ́ẹ̀lì ibi tí wọ́n ó sùn sí. Àwọn Èkìtì náà ló ń bẹnẹfíìtì yẹn. Bákan náà ni wọ́n àwọn tó wá gan àwọn olùkọ́ pátápátá tí wọ́n jẹ́ àkànṣe akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ wọ́n á rí ọ̀nà láti kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lára àwọn tó kù láti orígun mẹ́rẹ̀ẹ̀rin Nàìjíríà kí n rọra gbèmọ̀ níbẹ̀ torí àkókò. Bákan náà ni ọ̀rọ̀ ìgbanisíṣẹ́ wọ́n ti sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ẹ̀ náà wípé wọ́n máa rántí ẹni tó pè ọlọ́lá bọ́bajírò wa àkàndá kan pè ní ọ̀sẹ̀ tó kọjá ó kọ sórí Facebook a sì ká sáfẹ́fẹ́ nítorí àlejò wa tó wà ń bí àwọn òsì nígbà nípa ti àkàndá ẹ̀yin lẹ wá ń gbọ́ léèní nípa ìgbanisíṣẹ́ tírú àwọn yẹn báyìí àwọn tó kàwé níbòmíì tí kìí ṣèjọba ló tọ́ wọn ni wọ́n fi lọ kàwé wọ́n mà láwọn ń wáṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run á dẹ̀ fún yín ṣe tó bá wá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ kí n sáré sọ wípé tó ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa ìwọ̀nba àkókò péréte tó kù yìí bóyá ẹ mọ̀ fi dá tẹ́ bá ní kankan tí ẹ fẹ́ béèrè tàbí nọ́mbà tẹ́ pè sí òun náà ni 080 kí ẹ ti kọ́ 63 3434 82.
ẹ jẹ́ sà ká tó gba àwọn èèyàn. Tí wọ́n nílò ẹ̀yà ara tuntun. Ní bí a ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí.
Iṣẹ́ ń lọ bẹ́ẹ̀.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni à ń gba orúkọ wọn wọ́n ń wá síbẹ̀ yẹn. Wọ́n dẹ̀ àwọn òyìnbó tó fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn wọ́n ti wà ń bẹ̀.
Ó lẹ́ gbọ́ yìí ẹ̀yin èèyàn.
Wọ́n mẹ́jọ apá wọn so that wọ́n á lè in a month's time wọ́n á lè bá wọn ṣe wá in cast wọ́n wá fi sí wọn lára. So ọ̀fẹ́ ni o. Ọ̀fẹ́ ni wọ́n ṣe o bó ṣe máa gbé mọ́tò kan tètè máa bọ̀ ní ọ́fíìsì wa Skill Acquisition Center for Persons with Disability nílòkún wọ́n á bá wọn ń bẹ̀ àtàwọn tó ń wọ ẹsẹ̀ àtọwọ́ tí wọ́n á dẹ̀ bá wọn ṣe kí káwọn fámìlì wọn kó tètè ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ kó tètè gbé wọn síta kó make sure pé gbogbo àwọn tó yẹ pé wọ́n nílò ẹ̀yà ara any part of the body kó tètè máa bọ̀ ní ibẹ̀.
ẹ ṣeun
ṣe gbọ̀ǹgbà.
ọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́ ń gbọ́ yẹn ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa ẹjọ́ ẹnikẹ́ni tí ó bá dàbẹ́ ni pé wọ́n ti gé ọwọ́ wọn àbí ẹsẹ̀ wọn àbí ẹni ẹ̀yà ara kankan tí ìbá wà lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ o Skill Acquisition Center ní Ìlókun ẹ̀ máa bọ̀ wọ́n ní ọ̀fẹ́ ni wọ́n á fún yín wọ́n ti ń wọn àwọn kan ti wà ń bẹ̀ báyìí wọ́n ti ń wọ ọwọ́ wọ́n ti ń wọn ẹsẹ̀ wọn ọ̀fẹ́ náà dẹ̀ máa fún yín o ẹ kékulé ó gbọ́ kó sọ fún tòótọ́ ẹjá dáwọn èèyàn lóhùn ayọ̀. ẹ lẹ́mẹ̀ o ẹ káàárọ̀ mbẹ́ o sálàáfíà ni ta ló ń pè ẹni Augustine ok
ṣe rí ikú bàtìdá dá àkókò jára ẹ̀.
iṣu àkókò.
ẹ̀kọ́ bí gómìnà wa lẹ́kìtì bí ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ ṣe káàkiri náà máa bọ̀ wọ́n pé wọ́n kọ́ ọ̀gbọ́n kan ibi tó wọ́n ti máa ìṣọ́ọ̀tì àwọn gómìnà wọ́n ṣe ń gọ́bà ní Nàìjíríà tó bá dá àwọn gómìnà tẹ̀ tó ṣe dídì ẹ̀ yìí Nàìjíríà mú agbókùnjẹ́lẹ̀ yìí so wọ́n jẹ́ ìṣọ́tọ̀ dáma ìṣọ́tọ̀ àwọn gómìnà wọ́n ṣe ìṣèjọba ẹ jẹ́ kí gómìnà gbọ́ kó ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ibo táwọn mínísítà ní federal federation wọ́n tó máa ṣe kẹ́sì bí federal government náà ṣe ṣe ètò bó ṣe yẹ nìyẹn because tó máa ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ kò ní sọ̀rọ̀ pé bóyá ìjọba ò ṣe dáadáa mọ́ ẹ ṣó dàbọ̀.
ọ̀kọ́ sùn láti ṣù àníyàn mo rò pé bọ́ba jírò wa ń gbọ́. hello ẹ gbọ́.
nǹkan tó sọ yẹn mi gbọ́ àwọn nǹkan tó sọ dáadáa.
bóyá wọ́n ní kán ṣètò gbọ̀ngàn kan àbí ibi tí a ti lè ṣe àkójọpọ̀ kí àwọn èèyàn láti kí gbogbo èèyàn náà kan lè máa rí ẹ̀kọ́ títí tó dojú kọ́ lára ìgbésẹ̀ gómìnà Èkìtì ẹjá tó gbọ́ tẹ̀lé omi. hello ẹ lẹ́mbẹ̀ o ẹ bá wa dá sí i.
Olú láti Ọ̀yọ́ Èkìtì ni.
Olú láti Ọ̀yọ́ Èkìtì ẹ káàárọ̀ sà.
kí gbogbo ilé ìwò kí àwọn ìjọba kí àwọn tó kù wá.
ẹ ṣeun.
akọ́tọ̀tọ̀ látàárọ̀.
ẹ ṣeun.
ìjọ kí ni ìjọba ń ṣe láti jẹ́ kí àwọn both private and public places come provide dam fún àwọn tó ní disability ẹsẹ̀ tí wọ́n lè gbé ṣe gòkè àti àwọn òbí kọ́ṣì gòkè tó ní step ẹ̀jẹ̀ fi ram once while they access gbogbo wọn yẹn easily then kí ni àwọn gómìnà ṣe láti exercise àwọn èèyàn against stigmatization àwọn people wọn ẹ ṣe.
ok èyí tí ìjọba.
náà ní ti ọ̀rọ̀ accessibility tí wọ́n sọ yẹn. ní May 2024 the State Executive Council wọ́n mandate and it was a public announcement pé all public buildings wọ́n refer sí Disability Act òfin Disability Act that was enacted in 2020 by this APC government pé all public buildings whether it's a school, church, mosque, supermarket, banks òfin yẹn sọ pé by the end of 2025 December tọrọdún márùn lọ fún wọn 2020 dẹ̀ lọ́n ṣe òfin yẹn.
títí ìparí ọdún yìí o.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni so òfin yẹn was 2020 February ṣẹ́gun so òfin in actual fact 2026 February but àwa sọ pé by 2025 February 2025 níyà yìí kí all public buildings kí wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní make ọ̀dọ̀ wọn accessible and any new building tó bá ti ń kọ́ must be accessible to persons with disabilities. Now accessibility ju ọ̀rọ̀ pé kọ́kọ́ ní ramp nìkan lọ because àwọn tá ní with disability wọ́n póríṣiríṣi ṣe mọ̀ àwọn ní wheelchair là ń sọ̀rọ̀ pé kán lè ní accessibility kán ṣe ramp fún wọn nǹkan tó yẹ pé tó máa fẹ́ gun wheelchair a dẹ̀ tún ṣe program kan nígbà tí the director general of public what's that? Okay, Director General of Bureau of Special Government Assets, yes, you know, tó dẹ̀ bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ tó tún fún wa ní dimension ramps yẹn, you know, we would make it available again to the public, but it's something that we have been working on that should happen in Ekiti State, that all new buildings, public buildings should have ramps for people with disabilities, while old buildings should retrofit to ensure that the ramps are available in their facilities. Ní òkè orí omi tá a ṣe, one of the things tá a showcase ń bẹ̀, òun ni accessibility torí láti ẹnu ọ̀nà báyìí láti máa rí pé it's easy for a person on the wheelchair to access that building, even the toilet, gbogbo àwọn handrails, gbogbo ẹ̀ ló wà nínú toilet wọ̀nyẹn. Tẹ́ bá lè dé school tá a fẹ́ lò, mo sọ fún pé existing school ní Níkọ̀lé. Tẹ́ bá débẹ̀ nísìn, ẹ rí pé gbogbo ẹnu ọ̀nà wọn pátápátá ló wà accessible because if we are showing inclusion, we need to let people know this is how it is done, So there has been that notification and public announcement by the government. That was in May 2024. If we go to the social media handle of the government, of Ministry for Information, we will see it there, So I would just want to encourage people to ensure that they get this done. Thank you, sir.
Wọ́n tún sọ̀rọ̀ nípa bí àwọn èèyàn ṣe lè mọ̀ pé ká má máa dẹ́yẹ sí bí ìjọba ṣe lè ṣe káwọn èèyàn mọ̀ pé kò yẹ ká máa dẹ́yẹ sí àwọn àkàndá ẹ̀dá àti bí ẹni Ọlọ́run ń bùn tó bá lè ṣe ìrànlọ́wọ́ náà láti jẹ́ kí ètò gbogbo akitiyan tí ẹ̀ ń ṣe yìí wọ́n ní báwọn làwọn èèyàn ṣe lè mọ̀ pé kí kálukú lè kópa tiwọn pé láti ṣe ìrànlọ́wọ́ fáwọn àkàndá ẹ̀dá ǹjẹ́ ètò kankan ń lọ lórí ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀.
Àyè wà fún àwọn èèyàn láti kópa ní bí a ṣe ń ṣe ìtọ́jú àwọn àkàndá ẹ̀dá. Wọ́n lè lọ, àwọn èèyàn máa ń lọ sáwọn skul wa láti fún àwọn skul ní support. Àwọn èèyàn dẹ̀ ń ṣe nígboro náà tó dẹ̀ fi tó ọ́fíìsì wa létí. Ní recently ní senator wa náà wá sékìtì tí wọ́n wá ṣe empowerment fún gbogbo central, that senator Bámidélé MOB, Michael Ọpẹ́ Bámidélé, wọ́n wá ṣe empowerment fún àwọn tó wà ní central. Ìgbà tí wọ́n wá ṣe tí wọ́n fi àyè ti àwọn ẹ̀dá sọ́tọ̀. Wọ́n tún fi ti àwọn ọmọ títí tó wà ní abẹ́ wa, wọ́n tún fi wọ́n sọ́tọ̀. Wọ́n tún wá sí òkè orí omi láti wo center yẹn. Tán tún gbé mọ́tò sílẹ̀, tán kó wheelchair sílẹ̀, tán ṣe mọ̀ pé ara support náà nìyẹn. Wọ́n tún promise láti bá wa kọ́ toró ní facility onílẹ̀ kan tí His Excellency ti rà sí ọ̀nà NNPC lọ́hùn yẹn. Ó jẹ́ pé is about 3.6 hectares láti kọ́ ibi tó yẹ pé àwọn tó ti dàgbà tó yẹ pé ṣe mọ̀ pé wọ́n ní olùrànlọ́wọ́ kankan tó láwọn kan wà bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n dẹ̀ jẹ́ àkàndá ẹ̀dá tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n wà totally dependent, kò sí iṣẹ́ tán lè ṣe, kò sí nǹkan tán lè ṣe, but tí wọ́n máa kó wọn sí tí ìjọba lè máa tọ́jú wọn. Wọ́n ní ibi tó yẹ pé wọ́n fẹ́ kọ́ fún wọn tí MOB dẹ̀ promise pé àwọn máa take up project yẹn. So àwọn èèyàn náà ń wá, wọ́n sọ pé kí ni àwọn lè ṣe. Irú ẹni tó pè báyìí tán bá pe ọ́fíìsì wa tán béèrè pé kí la fẹ́, à á sọ fún gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tá a fẹ́ tá need help fún. For example, our people with disabilities wa, a fẹ́ kí àwọn private entrepreneur, àwọn private sectors kán bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní employ wọn. Most of them are trained. Irú àwọn tá à ń ṣe training fún lọ́dọ̀ wa báyìí. Aside from training iṣẹ́ tá à ń kọ́ wọn yìí, a tún ń kọ́ wọn ní soft skills. Skills like trustworthiness, honesty, hard work, diligence. Irú àwọn nǹkan tá a tún ń kọ́ wọn nìyẹn. So it's not just about the skill pé kọ́kọ́ lè ránṣọ. Tó bá ránṣọ tán, you as a tailor, you must be trustworthy. You should be able to deliver to time, You should be able to convince and, tell you if I'm...
Kádéhùn máa jádéhùn, ká ṣòótọ́ lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ ẹni.
Yes, how to keep to agreement. Irú àwọn nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tá à ń kọ́ wọn náà nìyẹn.
Ẹ ṣe àlejò wa èrò pọ̀ lórí ìlà. Olúlátọ̀yẹ wọ́n ti dáhùn béèrè yín o. Hello. Ẹ káàárọ̀ ń bẹ́ o.
Ẹ káàárọ̀ ẹ máa fún ètò.
Ẹ ṣeun mà.
Ẹ kú atótónu látàárọ̀ àtẹ̀yìn àtàlejò ṣẹ́gbẹ́ wà o.
Kí ló kọ yín?
Olórí Àlàbí Adé ló ń sọ̀rọ̀ láti ìdó.
Ó ìyá wa láti ìdó ẹ̀ lẹ́ńbẹ̀ o.
Ẹ kú ọjọ́ mẹ́ta iṣẹ́ àná o.
Olúwa ṣeun.
Mi ìráyè wọlé ní gẹ́gẹ́ ni ò jẹ́ kí n dúpẹ́.
Ok, ẹ ti rí káàdì yín.
Mo rí káàdì tẹ́sẹ̀ǹtì.
Ok.
Mo fẹ́ béèrè lọ́wọ́ àlejò wa. Ṣé mọ̀ pé tí àwọn ọmọ skul ni wọ́n sọ? Ó bọ̀ fún àwọn tó jẹ́ pé àkàndá ẹ̀dá tó wà nígboro. Kí ni ìbáṣepọ̀ tẹ̀ ń ṣe fún wọn? Báwo lẹ ṣe ń pè wọ́n láti gbẹ́kẹ̀lé ẹ̀kọ́ ríìkì wọn?
Now, àwọn àkàndá ẹ̀dá tó wà nígboro à ń reach out sí wọn from time to time. Nítòótọ́ a lè má mọ gbogbo wọn pátápátá torí pé we are still working on our data collection. We are in the process, we are working on it, but as many as we can. And the reason ara nǹkan tá a ṣe ní àwọn coordinators káàkiri gbogbo local government nìyẹn. Tí wọ́n jẹ́ pé tá a bá bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀, tá a bá ṣe, wọ́n á sọ fún wa nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ibi tí nǹkan bá ti ń ṣẹlẹ̀, and we also would react to it. Now, gbogbo àwọn tó ń wá sọ́fíìsì wa báyìí, from Ileje-Méje, from different places ni wọ́n ti ń wá. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe ń wá, à attend sí wọn, and they are happy. So, ó ń ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ pé àwọn ọmọ school nìkan, àwọn tó wà nígboro náà ara àwọn tó wà nígboro ni àwọn tó lọ ta sọ pé kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí lọ máa kọ́ṣẹ́ níbi tó ti ń kọ́ṣẹ́ yẹn báyìí kò ṣe àwọn ará Adó nìkan ló wà ń bẹ̀. There are people from different local governments in Ekiti torí pé kí ni a provide accommodation fún wọn. So it's not limited to ọ̀rọ̀ school nìkan àtàwọn ará àgbòrò àwọn tó wà nígboro gbogbo wọn ni but mọ̀ pé Rome was not built in a day. A máa climb the staircase yẹn lọ ni and we are ready, we are doing it and we'll continue to do it.
ìyàwó olórí ẹ ti gbọ́ nìyẹn o tó níbi tí a bá ọ̀rọ̀ dé yìí ó dàbẹ́ ni pé àkókò ń kó wa ní pápá mọ́ra títí di ìgbà míì ibi tí a fi àdágbà ètò sí ni Ayọ̀ Ìyálélé.
Thank you very much, Princess Adetun Agbola, for your time on the show. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
All right, that's the size of the show. Do well to join us again next week for another edition of Ekiti Today, Ekiti Loni. Until then, Ayo Ayodun is my name. Bye for now.
adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín o màmá wa ọmọọba Adétòun Agboola bọ́ba jírò fún gómìnà lórí ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn àkànṣe ẹ̀dá àkànṣe ẹ̀kọ́ àti ìkóra ni mọ́ra wípé tó ìkan náà jọ ni gbogbo wa láwùjọ. adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín o bákan náà la àníṣà ìdúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo iléeṣẹ́ rédíò mọ́kànlá tó wà lẹ́kìtì àti Àdàbà FM ní Àkúrẹ́ tí àjọjọ́ ń ṣe ètò yìí lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ájúṣe fákiri